Hello students, in this video we're going to be creating this small box. It's essentially a square box being 100 millimeters across by 100 millimeters with a height of 70 millimeters. We're going to be representing this with 12 millimeter wide material, and we're going to be using the rebate joints on all four corners, and the final piece will be a base that is 3 millimeters thick. So you can refer back to this image if you need to see any of the measurements. So to get started, as always, we will jump into a new SketchUp. In our new SketchUp, remember we should always start by checking our measurement. So looking in the information at length units, making sure it is set to millimeters, and usually 0.0 is sufficient for what we need, and we can close it off once it's done. And I tend to get rid of the person straight away. Okay, if we jump back for a second and look at the design, we have three main pieces that make up this design. We have one side which is 100 millimeters long by 12 millimeters wide, and that's going to have the rebates cut into it. And then we have the other piece that's going to go between the two rebated sides that will be 88 millimeters long to give a total of 100, and is also 70 millimeters tall. And our final piece, of course, is the base, which we'll worry about in a second. So let's start by drawing the most complex piece, which is the piece here with the rebate. So jumping back to my new one, I'm going to start like most things and think about modeling the shape that I want. So I'm going to start with a rectangular shape, which I'm going to make 100 millimeters long, and I'm going to make 12 millimeters wide. Pressing enter, and it looks like it shrunk a lot, so I'm going to zoom right in. Here is my piece. From there, I'm going to take my push-pull tool and I'm going to bring that up to be the 70 millimeter height that I need. So I've essentially replicated a piece of material. It could be a piece of wood or plastic or anything else that's going to now have rebates cut in. So let's have a look at doing those rebates. So very much like we would have done in class on a real piece of material, I'm going to start by measuring in from the edges the amount that I need for this rebate. We know the amount because it's the same as the thickness of the wood, which is going to be 12 millimeters. So I'm going to use my tape measure, and I'm going to create a construction line that is 12 millimeters from the end. Again, I'm clicking, dragging in the direction I want, typing my value, and pressing enter to get a perfect measurement. Again, similar to how I'll do this with my real piece, where I'd get a square to get the line going across. I've got my line, but I need to actually draw a real line now. So I'm going to use the 2 points where the construction line joins the edges to mark in an actual solid line, which now gives me separate pieces. At this point, I can rub out the construction lines, leaving the actual lines behind. Taking my push-pull tool, I'm going to choose one part of the rebate, push it in, and type the distance, which is always half. So again, because our material is 12 millimeters, that will be 6. Pressing enter. And do the same on the other side. Press enter. Done. So I have actually finished the entire rebate side. Now we should always make this into a component. So let's quickly select everything, right click, and make a component. I'm going to call this the rebate side, typing in and pressing enter. Now I'm going to need 2 of these, so I'm simply going to copy and paste one straight away. I prefer to use the keyboard shortcuts. Try that again, copy and then paste. I've got a second one there. Problem is, of course, it's facing the wrong way. I want them facing towards each other. So I'm quickly going to take my rotation tool. Again, I want to rotate on this axis. So here we go, clicking 1, 2, rotate any amount. And I know I want to rotate 180 degrees, so it faces the exact opposite direction. Let's type it in and press enter. So now I've got the 2 facing in the right direction. Let's design the other piece. So again, taking my rectangle tool, I'm just going to move it a little bit out of the way for a second. And I'm going to start with the basic shape. So here it is. I want 100 millimeters, sorry, not 100, 88 millimeters, sorry. Still by 12 millimeters to be the right size. Press enter. And again, I want to pull it up to be 70 millimeters tall. Let's make a component out of that. So highlighting everything, right click, make component, and I'm going to call this the non-rebate side. Okay, and again, I'm going to want 2 of those, but before I make a copy, I'm going to be a little bit smart here, and I'm going to think about rotating it first. So I want this piece to go across between the 2. So again, I'm going to rotate it on that blue axis, but this time I'm going to rotate by 90 degrees, so it's facing in the right direction. Now that it's facing the way I want, I will highlight it, sorry, and I will copy and paste. So again, I could copy and paste that way, or I can use the shortcut keys. Let's bring that one over here. All right, so basically got all the pieces now. It's time to lock them together. We know from previous experience that we can use the move tool and we can lock different pieces together. So if I think about this corner right here, that's going to lock to this corner right there. So if I grab that corner and bring my mouse, I can lock it into place. In a similar way, this corner here is going to lock to the inside corner of that rebate. So let's grab it. Oops, sorry, I had the other one still selected. Let's undo that. Let's make sure I'm choosing the right piece, and let's lock that into place as well. And finally, the last side with the rebate, same thing, I can lock any piece together. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. I'm going to lock this inside corner to that corner there. So again, grabbing the piece, bring it in and locking it into place. So I've now got my fully designed outer box. Last thing I need is a base. Now the easiest thing for the base here is to simply rotate around to see the bottom of it. I'm going to take my rectangle tool. I'm going to grab any outside corner and I'm going to go to the opposite diagonal corner to create a full piece there. Remember, it's not joined onto the box because each of these are components, so it's sitting on top of them, so to speak. So I can take my push-pull tool, grab it and drag it down any amount, but we know it's 3mm, so I simply type 3 and enter, and I've made a base piece. I should make that into a component as well. So what I might do at this point is hide all the other pieces, just right-click hide as I go through all 4 of them. So that this way I can definitely select just the base pieces without accidentally choosing the rest of it. I can right-click and make that a component as well. We'll call that base. And of course I can bring back all the pieces simply by going to my little pair of glasses and choosing to unhide all. And I now have all the pieces of my box. If I wanted to try and replicate that last stage that I have here, I can use my dimensions tool. So going into your 3-bar menu if you don't already have it, but you're looking for this tool here. So if it's not on your bar already because you used it recently like I have, you'll find the dimensions there. And remember, with dimensions, you take 2 points. So let's say I want to have the full measurement across here. I can click on this first corner, second corner, and then bring out that dimension to a place that I can see it nicely. So you can see that is 100mm. If I go all the way from edge to edge, that's also 100. But if I then look at the piece in between, say here, it's definitely 80. I can do the height, so from the bottom of the piece across, that's our 70mm. And if I zoom in nice and close, maybe rotate a little bit, I can test just that little piece there, and that's definitely 3. So you can add some dimensions to your box as well to make it clear that you've definitely got it correct. And that is how to make the box. So again, the expectation is you simply follow these steps, create the box that I've displayed on screen, and make sure you save that as an SKP, so that's a download save as SKP, and submit that to Schoolbox for your assessment. If you've got any problems, of course, you can stop and pause, rewind, etc. this video, and if you really get stuck, you can ask for some assistance.